faith, intelligence, expertise.
What other doors could be closed?
Hey, how much am I willing to give up and commitment and are not committed to the struggle? Acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed.
Careful who you leave toeless.
Hello, everybody. Dr. Rick Wallace here, dropping in on you. I hope that everything is going well for all of you that have been sending well wishes and checking in on me. I definitely appreciate it. The family appreciates it. I'm definitely on the mend. I've come a long way since a couple of weekends ago, and steady on the improve. I'm believing that by the time this weekend is over, I will be 100% recovered as far as physically. It's been a challenge when you do a great deal of what you do with your mouth and something happens that limits the use of it. It causes you to look at and dig deep in and find ways to still be impactful. And I believe I've done that. So I'm grateful to those who have supported me. Most importantly, I'm grateful to my wife who consistently stands in beside me when I meet these challenges and shores me up until I'm able to completely stand and move forward on my own. For that, I'm grateful. Segueing out of that into something relevant to it, I was telling you guys before my health scare that I was doing a 60-day challenge, and that's still going on. We're going to ride that into the new year. And I've invited everybody to participate in this 60-day challenge. This is a 60-day holistic health and fitness challenge. This isn't just about losing weight. This isn't just about nutrition. This is about mental health. This is about stability, emotionally, spiritually, psychologically. This is about finding your center and operating optimally from a state of homeostasis, where you're in balance with yourself, with your purpose, with your destiny. And physically, what we don't understand is we keep ourselves out of balance because we compartmentalize. What do I mean by that? Some people are very focused on where they are here. Other people are very focused on where they're here. Some people are focused on where they are here. But when you don't have all those areas in sync and optimized, they negatively impact others. So you can never, if your focus, if your center is really just centered on being here intellectually, it's going to be impacted intellectually, psychologically, mentally, or emotionally. It's going to be impacted by your physical health. It is. If you're not optimized physically, it's going to have a negative impact in a number of different ways. Too many to get into now. What we've done is made it very easy for you to be a part of this. What we want you to do is we want you to go to the link is in the description box. Click the link, go to the Master Fitness 21 Facebook page. Chime in on any post on there. I'm going to start putting some posts to ask you guys some questions to give you something to participate on. And what I want what you're looking for. I want you to be specific. None of the ambiguity. We use ambiguity as an escape from accountability. What do I mean by that? I mean, if somebody says, okay, Rick, what's your ideal weight? What are you shooting for on the fitness side as far as your weight? I'm shooting for 205. That's going to be a little bit of my competition weight back in the day. But it's going to be about 25 pounds, 20 to 25 pounds. I haven't weighed in a minute. from where I'm at now. So that's where I'm going. Specifically, I'm holding myself accountable to that. When I get there, I'm going to reevaluate. I'm going to look at how I feel when I move. I'm going to take some assessments on range of motion. I'm going to take some assessments on resting heart rate. I'm going to do a lot of different things that will let me know, am I good where I'm at? Could I put a little more muscle on and still be okay? Or do I need to get down to 200? And I'm going to figure all that out, but I'm going to hit 205, period. I'm not giving myself room. I'm not saying, well, somewhere around, and, if I could just do this. No, you got to be specific. You got to be specific in where you want to be with your fitness. You got to be specific in where you want to be with your finances. You got to be specific in where you want to be in your relationships, which we're going to talk about today, relationships. You got to be specific, very specific in what you want. You got to be so specific, because the clearer you are on what you are envisioning for yourself, the more accurate your movement toward it will be, the more easy it will be to assess your progression. And all of this is important. There's so much more. But I'm inviting you, every last one of you, I'm inviting you. If you want to push towards holistic health, and this is an ongoing thing, because there's always something to improve. You're never perfect, you never arrived. But what you want is to be at the best possible place you can be today, meaning that you've given it all you've gotten. You've given your fitness, your nutrition, your mental health, your relational health, your financial health, your career, your business, operating in what you know you were meant to do. You've given it your best each and every day. And yes, when you get to this day, there's going to be room for improvement, but you don't want that to be places and room for improvement because you haven't invested in yourself the way you need to up until this point. So go over to the Master Fitness 21. And for those of you who are wondering, where's this coming from? If you haven't known me for some serious time, you may not even know this about me, but fitness was my number one and first love. Master Fitness is the extension of my first business, which was Stay Fit Fitness and Training years and years and years ago. It's Master Fitness 21 now. It's kind of becoming a family business. I'm proud of that. I'll share some of those things as we move forward. But look, here's the thing. I've been in this thing for a long time. I a number of different things when it comes to holistic health, and that's where I'm at right now, mentally, emotionally, psychologically, physically. I earned my doctorates at Array of Hope Theological Seminary in my pursuit of spiritual growth and awareness of God and divinity. And in the process, I literally helped found the School for the Ministry of Health and Wellness at the school. I wrote the curriculum, and I currently sit as the dean for that school. So when you wonder where all of this comes from, there is a segment of, a segue into why this is something that I can speak on. I'm not just coming out of the blue. I'm not just jumping on some trend. I've literally been in this thing for 30 years. And so I've learned a lot. And, I've learned a lot about myself. I learned how easy it is to become distracted from the things you need to be focused on to remain optimal. And so this is a journey we're going to take together. So if you want to be a part of it, I'm inviting you to be a part of it. It doesn't cost anything to be in the 60-day challenge. Now, obviously, there are going to be programs and courses that you can take. Obviously, you can work one-on-one with me. If you're in the Houston area, you can work one-on-one with my son as far as actually being trained physically. He's an exceptional trainer. 27 years old. The guy, is really, I'm really proud of him. He does that now. I haven't done that in a long time. I haven't done the actual physical training in probably the last time I trained a client physically was probably about 4 or 5 years ago. Um, and so, but he's definitely capable. If you need somebody to write programs for you, we're doing that. But what we want to do is we want to find out where you're at, what you want to accomplish, and we want to know where you want to be at. Where are you at emotionally right now? How do you want to deal with that? Are you in a good place? Where are you at in the sense of your career? Where are you at financially? Where are you at in the building of your business or whatever it is you're doing that you're excited about? Where are you at in your physical fitness? Not just weight and measurements, resting heart rate, blood pressure readings, blood glucose levels. All of these things are measurable. And since they're measurable, you want to know they're in an optimal state. And that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about going into 2020 in an optimal state to perform. And you're going to find that you have so much more in you when you're healthy. And so if you want to be a part of this 60-day challenge, click the link, go over. Just all you have to do is like the page. And that way you'll get notifications when something is posted. You'll be able to participate. Obviously, there are some other things you can get. You can email if you want something on a more personal level. The email address is in there. Email us and we'll work one-on-one with you to get you where you need to be. There's no excuse for going into 2020 not being in a better condition than you are on today. Absolutely none. But it's only 35 for 40 days. So what? You would be surprised at what you can do in 35 or 40 days if you become committed to it. So that's what we're doing. We're committing to it. I'm committing to going into 2020. And it's no way, Doc, you're going to hit that. Watch me. And I'm going to do it in a healthy way. There's so much we can do when we stop giving ourselves excuses. And nobody does that for you but you. Don't blame it on anybody. Don't point no fingers at anybody. So you're responsible for you, right? Okay, great. So we're out of that. If you haven't gotten the book, Critical Mass, the link is in there. If you haven't gotten the book, I Am, the link is in there. If you want to work one-on-one with me, you can click and you can set that in motion by filling out the questionnaire that's also in the description box and emailing it to my support team. They'll get you set up for your initial session. The initial session is on me. If you decide after this session you want to work with me, we take it from there. But you've got to start taking steps. No excuses. It's time to invest in you. It's time to make some choices. It's time to make a move. Well, you cannot consistently keep moving and making excuses. All the things that you call reasons are going to be there. None of that stuff is going to magically go away one day. So you've got this perfect timing, this perfect opportunity. Well, I want to wait till the kids leave. When the kids leave the house, something else is going to be there. I want to wait till I get the bills paid down. Who says you're going to get them paid down if you don't get on your optimal grind? You're going to have to take some steps to move towards what it is you need to do, period. It's that simple. It is absolutely that simple. All right, it's Relationship Wednesday, and I'm not going to be long at all. Sometimes we kind of take relationships for granted. What do I mean by that? We kind of just sit up and think relationships are there. They're no big deal. The truth of the matter is we are social creatures. We are mammals. We are social creatures. We are meant to work together, to operate in unity, in unison with one another for the purpose of accomplishing things. We work better as a group than we do as individuals. Now, we live in an individualized culture that promotes individuality. So people want to stand out. People would much rather say, look at what I did than look at what we did. And so for that sake, we've got a lot of people out here that's not giving true validity and gravity to the importance of relationships. And so we don't have a lot of quality relationships. Relationships are sort of treated right now, for the most part, as casual inconveniences. I'm gonna go hang out with blah blah. I mean, everything is, if it's not about me, it's an inconvenience. And because of that, we don't get the full brunt of who we are. We don't get the full force of who we are. We don't get the full productivity and proficiency that we're capable of producing because we're not operating the way we're designed to operate. If you look at other mammals, dolphins, seals, lions, elephants, they all work in unison to accomplish something. They don't work off of ego. They don't work off of ego. They work off of the importance and the functionality of the relationship. And so that's what I want us to pay more attention to moving forward. Understand that this individualized culture of individualism that is constantly putting out that you need to stand out. You will automatically stand out, even in a group, when you're operating in the fruit of your gift. When you're operating through what you were designed to do, in the group where other people are doing what they were designed to do, the group is going to accomplish far more than you can do by yourself because you weren't designed to do everything. And you have to know what you bring to the table. You have to know what others bring to the table. And I have had this conversation, not surprisingly, with a number of my clients over the last month. Uh, and I've had it with a couple of groups that I've spoken at. I spoke at a men's gathering, and we had somewhat of a similar dialogue. And now what I want to talk about is what I share with them, I want to share with you because I think it's important. To me, one of the most important things, and if you ask my wife, she might say the most important thing in building a relationship is the establishing of boundaries and parameters by which the relationship will be governed, engaged, and carried out. And what does that mean? When you don't have boundaries, there's no consistency in the relationship. There's no standard set of expectations. There is always confusion, animosity, hostility. It lacks balance. In setting boundaries, you establish the rules of engagement of said relationship. We're talking everything from parenting to workspace relationships, romantic relationships. All relationships require boundaries. The problem is most of us don't set clear, defined boundaries. And even when we do, we don't reinforce them or we don't enforce them. We don't sit up and when someone crosses the boundary, apply the understood consequence. There is a boundary. The boundary is useless unless there's a consequence for violating it. And the consequence needs to be understood. Prime example, romantic relationship, honesty and loyalty are going to be boundaries in my relationship. Be honest with me and be with me. If you can't be with me, tell me you can't be with me. I understand. You go your way, I go mine. And if you violate that boundary, I will implement the consequence of creating the separation. It's not up for discussion. It's not up for debate. We're not going to negotiate it. This is the consequence of what's going to happen if you do this. For I think for every woman, one of the boundaries, obviously, loyalty. You need that stability and you need to know you can depend and trust on that person and that they're not out spreading themselves around. So loyalty too. But another thing is that you're going to keep your hands to yourself and that you're going to keep your mouth to yourself. So in other words, no emotional, physical, or psychological abuse. If you violate the boundaries, I will execute the consequences. And when you do this consistently, obviously, there are going to be some people who are not going to be okay with it. Why? Because people who get what they want through manipulation are not going to be happy being checked and put in place and having their powers of manipulation snatched away. You're not going to make everybody happy. And one of the most miserable positions to be in life is that position of trying to be a people pleaser, trying to make everybody happy. Your goal is to be the best you can possibly be. Your goal is to be good to others, be as effective in your work as you possibly can. And there's a difference between your work and your job. Some people are blessed that their work is their job, and that's awesome. And there's a way for you to do that. But your work is what you were designed to do. Your job is what you get paid to do. They don't always line up. But when you're in your work, you want to be operating at your highest height. You want to be impactful. You want to be changing lives. You want to be inspiring people, encouraging people, empowering people. And you want to do that at the height. But you have to make sure that you're not spending your time trying to be a people pleaser. You're not going to please everybody. There are some people out there that if it isn't going exactly the way they want it to go each and every day, all day long, they're not going to be happy. And that's not your job to do that for them. Every person's responsibility is, when it comes to happiness, that's an individual responsibility. My wife and I talk about this, periodically. We used to talk about it a lot in the beginning of the relationship. It's not my job to make her happy. It's my job to provide an environment in which she can feel safe to pursue her happiness. It's my job to make sure no one is doing anything that can inhibit her happiness. It's my job, because here's what I'm gonna tell you. If a person is intent on being unhappy, intent on being a complainer, intent on finding everything wrong, intent on pointing finger, finding blame, and all that, there's absolutely nothing you can do that's going to make them happy. They're going to be miserable until they decide they're not going to be. And when they decide they're going to be happy, there are going to be times they will find happiness even when there's things that are not going the way they want them to go, because they've made up in their mind to be happy. So that's a personal responsibility. Your job is to simply be the person that's creating an environment in which they can thrive and do that. And some people are not going to do it. People are going to want you to meet every need, do everything that they think you should be doing, and so much more. And the reason that they're doing that is because they haven't found and discovered themselves. It's not your job. Your job is to facilitate for those who are willing to do the work. That's why I will turn clients down. There are people come to me and ready to write the check. And I'm like, no, why? Because I'm a facilitator. I'm not going to create your happiness. I'm not going to create your space. I'm going to show you how. I'm going to create the right environment. I'm going to give you the tools. But if you're not ready to do it, there's nothing I can do for that. I'm not going to put myself in that position. And so what I want you to do is understand, in this relationship, you got to set boundaries. You got to let a person know what they can expect from you and what you expect from them. You build your relationship based off of those expectations and those boundaries. That's how you build relationships. And as long as everyone operates within the boundaries, you will get more proficiency, you will get more quality, you will become more stable, and you will have these resources that you can lean into, and the feeling will be mutual, and the benefit will be mutual. People can lean into you when they need what you are strong in, and you can lean into them. And this is the balance of true relationship. Relationship isn't exploitive if it's beneficial, in the sense that I'm bringing something to the table. I said this long before Marion and I married. When I look at my potential mate at the time, before I knew her, and when I knew her, I looked at her. I did not once lead with the idea of what she was bringing to the table. And people don't get that. You're like, you didn't. I said, now I was aware, but every time I looked at her and I contemplated being with her, it wasn't about what she could do for me. It was about what I could do for her. Now, I needed to know that she had the capacity to be loyal, which she oozes, that she has the capacity to be committed, which she oozes. Those are the things that were most important to me. And everything else we were going to build. So I wasn't going down this checklist. I was checking her heart. And I was looking at loyalty and commitment. And everything after that was just a plus. But I was saying, how do I bring stability to her life? How do I bring elevation to her life? In what way does my gift enhance her? And that's what I went into. So I'm looking for how I elevate those around me when I'm evaluating potential relationships. What am I getting at? I'm getting at, if you don't set boundaries, you're going to be all over the place. No one is going to know what's expected of them consistently. No one's going to know when to expect something other than what they've been getting. And when everybody's unhappy, everybody becomes miserable because there's no set standard of what happens when someone's doing what they shouldn't be doing. You've got to set boundaries. And you've got to enforce those boundaries consistently. It's not about how I feel about you. There are some people I absolutely love that I don't deal with because they can't respect the boundaries. It's that simple. On that note, I'm going to get ready to get out of here. Again, if the information is in there, going over to the Master Fitness 21 Facebook page, like it and join. And we're going to get the ball rolling more intensely today. If you want to work with me either through the Visionators Institute or Master Fitness 21, you want to work directly, email me, inbox me, whatever, and we'll get it done. But this is the point in time you've got to make the commitment. On that note, I'm getting ready to get here. You guys have a great day. As I always say, live your life on full so that when you leave this place, you die on E. Have an awesome, awesome day.
From a conceptual perspective, things people talk about a desire to be successful. All of the elements they think, intelligence, expertise. Hey, how much am I willing to give up and are not committed to the struggle, acquiescing to the struggle, they're committed